Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome to Coffee with Ustaz. I'm your host Indra Sahib.
Mubarak.
Mubarak Shah.
Mubarak Shah.
welcome to Coffee with Ustaz. It's been a very lovely evening, right? We are joined also with us and our beloved Ustaz Al-Fadil Al-Mukarram Ustaz Anwar Hussein. Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum ya Ustaz.
Jazakumullah khair.
How are you Ustaz?
Alhamdulillah.
MasyaAllah. Good. Alhamdulillah. I don't want to say only because the past,
Thank you, good.
just something to start with because the first episode, Barak, I just want to let you know, right? I did some mistake during the production.
Technical blunder.
Yeah, technical blunder lah, bro. Ustaz, I asked Ustaz, how are you, Ustaz? And Ustaz say, I'm good, thank you. And Ustaz refer back the same question to me lah, right? Now I say, I'm thank you.
Thank you, good. Actually, no. You know what you're doing? You're speaking Star Wars language.
That's
Yoda
why,
language.
Alamak. I feel very malu lah. But okay, Alhamdulillah. We have a very important and very interesting topic today that we want to discuss with Al-Fadil Al-Mukarram Ustaz. A topic that is very relatable to everyone, right? Right, Barak.
For sure.
The topic today is the purpose of life. Yeah. I think a lot of people out there, including myself, right? We are still trying to understand in a deeper manner what is the meaning or what is the purpose of life.
Yeah.
So, what is your purpose of life, Barak?
Wow. That is, you want the model answer or you want the...
I'm just pulling your leg.
Yeah, but I think it's this, what you're trying, I think like one of it is like definitely like, we will definitely one day or one time in our life ask ourselves like, why do I even exist? Like why am I here in this world? Why is there like something?
Like for me, I will only question that particular question, or question it to myself when a certain calamity befalls me. I'm going through a certain hardship in life. Why am why I have to live this moment?
Yeah, why do I have to go through this hardship?
Yes, why I have to go through this hardship and so on. So I think it's a very, very, very. If we just digest it upon ourselves only, we might not grasp the meaning.
Yeah.
Right. So we have to get reference from our asatiza, from our teachers, from those that is well guided in this part of topic. You get what I mean? Not?
I understand. Yeah. Like why? Like I think like for example like why do we exist? Why are we here? It's like questions like I think everybody will ask themselves.
Yeah.
Like especially when you like example once I think not even like you have like calamity. Like suddenly you just think walking by the street, you're looking around like why am I even here? Like why is this thing all happening around me? Why is there like problems in this world? Why is there all that kind of stuff? And I think we definitely go through this a lot.
What do you think that the main question they frequently ask? You have laid out all the question there, right? But what is the main top 3 question now? So at least we can post this later to Al-Fadil Al-Mukarram Ustaz.
I think one of it is like why am I here lah?
Why am I here?
Yeah.
Then why
is the meaning behind all of this?
How should I live my life?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe the third is why even I'm born in this world.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think these are like major questions that we go through. And not it's just like Muslims. I think everyone in the world will definitely face this question like, why am I here? Why do I even exist? I think, and then will of course lead us to many other questions. But what is the Islamic perspective for this? Like why do we even exist?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. To address any discussion, and firstly, we have to understand that our existence and it has a beginning, which people and don't have any difficulty, any difficulty to get into this to this thing. The fact that our existence and it have a beginning, and we have been brought from non-existence and into existence. So logically, when we speak about contingencies, something that has a beginning, or something and is brought any from non-existence and into existence, there must be an originator. There must be an originator. I believe we mentioned any part of it in maybe our first any session when we speak any about the contingency of the universe and the kalam and the cosmological argument, where we speak any about the evidence any behind the existence any of God. So when we look at ourselves and when we look at human beings, we look at the nature of our existence and is that we are contingent. Our existence and is a form of contingent in existence. So when we say that we have a beginning, that means there is something that brought us into existence. It is impossible any to believe that yes, we have a beginning, but we come out any by coincidence. Or worse, I've talked to some people and they said that they are the ones who brought themselves into existence, which what you call
There's
it?
a nonsense.
Yeah,
there's a nonsense.
Some people, for example, I spoke to some people. I mean, these are atheists.
Yeah.
So when I question them, for example, how you come into this existence if you don't believe in the existence of God. So he said that his parents is the one who created him. So this is amazing. And how can we personally claim that the parents is the one who created what you call this human being? Because when we speak about creations, there must be design.
Yes.
To say that someone created something, that person must come out with design and the characteristics and the attributes. But the nature is that when our mothers give birth to us, she doesn't even know what is happening in the womb.
And she also was created also.
So
how can a creation create creation?
So logically, and this is also inshallah when we enter into ahkam al-aql, laws of the intellect. We will speak about this when we speak about jaiz aqlan, the possibilities and in terms of the laws of the intellect. When we speak about contingencies, as what we mentioned, it has a beginning.
Contingency, do you mean what do you mean by contingency? Maybe people behind it I have to understand. Contingency, do you mean like they are dependent, or what do you mean by contingency?
Okay, simply in contingent, when we say something is contingent in Arabic and we call it hadith, basically when we say something is contingent, meaning its existence is preceded by non-existence. This is the definition.
Okay.
So anything whose existence is preceded by non-existence is contingent. So human beings are contingent, animals are contingent, the universe is contingent. The universe also has a beginning. The universe has a beginning, and we can speak about that. That one requires some more explanations. But as far as the human beings are concerned, there is no doubt that we are contingent because we are brought from non-existence into existence.
Can I also say it's like example like I dependent on something else for me to exist.
Yeah. What you call I'm going into that. But basically now this is the thing we have to ponder. We are brought into existence. So basically this is where the conclusion that I'm coming to. So when we understood that we are a contingency, meaning our existence is preceded by non-existence, it is impossible that we brought ourselves into existence. And I think any like mentally able person will understand that you cannot be the one who brought yourself into existence when you do not know how you come about into this existence. So we are not the ones who brought ourselves into existence. So there is something else that brought us into this existence.
We had no choice also.
So now the question that we boil down, who is this originator, like in what you call it in philosophy, and we call it the originator. Who is this originator that brought me into existence? Who is my creator? So when we understand that we have a beginning and there is a creator, the next step we have to find out who is this creator? Who is the one who brought me into existence?
Like a lot of
people to answer the question which you asked, why are we even here? Or when people ask this question, why are we even here? So we have to understand that we are created, that we are brought into this existence, and we need to know who is our creator. And once we know who is our creator, then we need to know what is the reason he created us and what is the reason he sent us in this creation. So basically, in Islam, we have the answers.
Yeah.
How do we know this? Of course, through prophets and messengers. God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he sent any prophets and messengers to human beings to inform them about the creator. Human beings naturally knows that there is a creator. And this is based on the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where the Prophet mentioned, Kullu bani Adam yuladu ala fitrah. Or kama qala ﷺ. And we have this famous hadith about fitrah. That in every children of Adam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala casts in him this inclination of fitrah that tells him there is a creator. There is a creator who brought him into existence. But human beings, just by in his intellectual capacities, he will not understand who is the creator. He is in need of revelation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent prophets and messengers. So he sent Nabi Adam alayhi salam, and Nabi Isa alayhi salam, Nabi Musa alayhi salam, and he sent the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam with the Quran as a guide for all of us, and to tell us who is our creator.
Yeah.
So when we look at the book of God, book of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about himself. This is where the knowledge of Aqidah comes in. Who is this creator or originator that brought us from non-existence into existence?
Yeah.
So we know it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Quran speaks about the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the one who created the heavens and the earth, the one who created human beings, the one who created everything and the universe and everything, with all the miracles in the Quran, that we are convinced that this is a revelation that comes from the one who brought everything into existence. So we can get the answer why we are here from the revelation in itself. So this is going to be the topic of our podcast today, when we speak about the purpose of life. So unless human beings do not go back to revelation, he will not understand the purpose of life. He will not be able to find the answer why he's here. Because remember, using our intellect is a contingency. So our intellect, initially it was non-existence. So we cannot depend on our intellect in everything. In things that we do not see, in things that we do not know. We do not know a lot of things, a lot of realities. So we cannot be dependent on our intellect fully. We are in need of revelation. So this is the blessing that Allah bless Muslims, that we are blessed by Allah and with the coming of the Prophet ﷺ, with the Quran, that we are able to being given this guidance to believe and to study.
What if there was that there's a today in our times, there's people will say everything happened by chance, like this whole thing happened. So how can we have what purpose is there in this world that is filled with chance? Like you cannot, like this Big Bang theory, that kind of stuff. How do you?
No, this is impossible. Impossible. It's like saying, okay, now we have this bottle on this table. Now, if someone asks me how does this bottle be on this table, I say by chance, or this is just by coincidence, or it happens by itself. This is impossible. This is something that is illogical. Meaning, when we say that there is something that is in existence, there must be an originator. There must be an originator. This particular thing is created. Someone placed the water in the bottle, and someone placed the bottle on this table. You came into this room and you saw that the bottle is on the table. Straight away you understand that there is someone who placed this bottle on the table. But it is impossible to believe that this bottle happens by itself, or came into existence by itself. There is a famous debate between Imam Abu Hanifa and an atheist. Imam Abu Hanifa, of course, one of the great imams in the early Islamic period. So he was having a debate with this atheist. So he purposely came late for the debate, purposely. So this person he was waiting, and he got angry. He said, "What is this? Your imam, with all the things that you praise him, he cannot even be punctual for this session." Then after some time, he came and then he apologized. Imam Abu Hanifa said, "I'm sorry because I'm late. What happened was, as I was crossing the river, I cannot find like a boat or raft. and then suddenly the woods and it came and from the trees, the woods and it came and from the trees flying and then forming up the woods and it by itself, and then it became a raft. And it happened in front of me that I'm able to board on it. That's the reason I'm able to reach. So this person say, what is this nonsense that you're talking about? This is impossible. How can you say that the wood from the trees suddenly came out from the trees and then being fixed into this position, catering for you to cross to the river. So Imam Abu Hanifah mentioned, likewise, it is impossible to believe that this universe with the stars and all this solar system that is moving and in perfection, it is impossible to say that all this in existence by chance or they came by themselves. There must be a creator. So this is a logical argument. So in Islam, for example, we have the Kalam cosmological argument, is what we mentioned. And then we have this principle where we say that possibilities are all the same. Possibilities or contingencies they are all the same in the sense that whether it is in existence or not in existence, there must be an originator. There must be something that brings it into existence or does not bring it into existence.
So it's actually saying that the people who say, it is illogical for people to say that chance is the reason why we exist, and instead our Islamic approach, the approach of what we are mentioning just now is the only rational reason to understand why we exist. That we exist because there is an originator. We exist because there is a creator, and if we think of anything other than that, it will be irrational. You see that?
Yes. There must be a creator. For every creation, there must be a creator. In every creation, there must be a creator. So that is why when we look at this universe and we look at the things around us, there is no doubt that we say that there is a creator who brought everything into existence. Now, for example, we look at the solar system, we look at the sun, we look at the moon, we look at the earth. How do we come to the conclusion that this universe has a creator? Islam gave the evidences. One of the evidences is that they go through change. So anything that go to change is contingent. So how do we know that this universe is contingent? The answer will be because it goes through change. So now for example, we are in nighttime, earlier in the day, and we are in daytime. So we go to change. So sometimes we are in the nighttime, sometimes we are in the daytime. The earth is rotating around the sun. Movement is contingent. It shows that the earth is contingent because it accepts change. So the Muslims, this is one of the evidences that we use, and this is a very strong evidence that anything that is subjected to change is contingent. So if you are able to bring forth the evidences, and these are evidences and they are so profound, that are so strong, to say that the universe has a beginning. If you are able to believe or to come to this conclusion that the universe is contingent and the universe has a beginning, then you got no other choice. If it has a beginning, meaning what? It is brought from non-existence to existence.
Yeah.
So there must be an originator. But to say that the universe, yes, the universe has a beginning, but it happens by chance or it happens by coincidence, but it has a beginning. This is impossible. Impossible. I need to say something that has a beginning without an originator.
Yeah.
This is so illogical. It is the same as saying that this bottle appear by itself. And then you are asking, this is impossible. So a person can say, yes, it's possible. It appears by itself. Nobody designed this. Nobody placed this bottle on this table. When it happens by itself. I don't think any person in the world will believe. any person in the world. It's just that because the universe is in existence, before we come into this existence, people do not see that.
Yeah.
Because when they are in this world, everything in this existence already. You don't see, for example, the sun. Last time the sun is not in existence, and then suddenly in your life, suddenly there is a sun. Like that, and people in you will be have the conviction.
Yeah.
But because all these things are in existence, people have this, some tendency. I need to say that okay, maybe it's possible that the universe, yes, and there is a Big Bang. There is a beginning to this universe, but it's not necessary that even if the universe has a beginning, it's not necessary that there is a creator.
Yeah.
So this is illogical. This is going against going against any logic.
Yeah. You know, I realize, Indra, like something in our time, especially was that, like even though they come to a conclusion, as I say, right, they will believe that there is an originator. I mean, there is a beginning to the earth. They will refuse to say it's God. You know, you realize that, right? There will be like a refusal to say, oh, it's like Mother Nature, or all of these terminologies, or nature.
Then their refusal is based mainly pure on defiance.
Yeah.
When they are defying something that is the truth.
Yeah, like they don't accept there is such thing as an originator or someone created. I mean, like, because Ustaz, don't you say like the fact that there is a creator, once you accept that this entire existence happened because there is a creator, it follows the same logical reason, like why did the originator create me? And it comes to what we believe, that we have a purpose, of why we exist. Maybe Ustaz, you can share us, like, for people who, like, especially I think a lot of people who agree with you, like you say that we agree with us that there is an originator. There is a purpose. The person create someone. I won't say someone, but we came out in this existence for a purpose. And maybe we can share with us like what is this purpose in the Islamic perspective of why we are here. Especially.
Yeah. Once we believe there is a creator, and this creator is Allah. And Allah sent any prophets and messengers, and He sent a revelation. We have in the Quran, for example, Allah speaks about the creation. Allah speaks about the reason behind the creation of human beings. What is the purpose of life that He wills, that He wants, for human beings, and the fact that He's testing human beings, and He's sending any prophets and messengers to inform any human beings about their obligations, and what are the do's and the don'ts, and what are the morality that they have to abide, and so on and so forth. So when we go back into the Quran, so we can summarize the purpose behind the objective of the lives of human beings are three. So when you look at the Quran speaks about three aspects. If a person asks, for example, what is my purpose in life as a Muslim, or what is my purpose as a human being, it is the same thing actually. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one who created all human beings. And those human beings who follow His command, they are the ones who are successful. Number one, and this is mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about before the creation of Nabi Adam alayhi salam. In the Quran, Allah says, إِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. So Allah said to the angels that I am going to create a Khalifa on the face of this earth. Khalifa in the Arabic language meaning a representative. When we say Khalifa, it comes from the word Khalafa. That means to represent. So for example, a good example, simple example, and it will be the ambassador of a country. So imagine if you are the ambassador of the country, you represent your country. You represent your country. So you will carry out the orders of your country, the orders of your country. So you are the representative. So it is a noble status that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving to human beings. So that is why the angels they ask some questions to Allah. Say, ataj'alu fiha man yufsidu fiha wa yasfiku dima wa nahnu nusabbihu bihamdika wa nuqaddisu lak. Say, Allah, are you going to create a creation on this earth that is going to cause bloodshed, and that is going to cause this fasad and all this, doing all these bad things? Wa nahnu nusabbihu bihamdika wa nuqaddisu lak, while we are constantly making tasbih and glorifying you, Allah. Because angels, they do not make any sins. They are created by Allah, and they are constantly making ibadah to Allah. So they ask Allah, why do you want any to create any such any creation? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun. I know what you do not know. And then the verse, and it goes on, Allah says, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا ثُمَّ عَرَضَهُمْ عَلَى الْمَلَائِكَةِ فَقَالَ أَنْبِئُونِي بِأَسْمَاءِ هَؤُلَاءِ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ قَالُوا سُبْحَانَكَ لَا عِلْمَ لَنَا إِلَّا مَا عَلَّمْتَنَا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْعَلِيمُ الْحَكِيمُ. Allah taught Adam alayhi salam the names of things and the characteristics of things. And Adam alayhi salam is able to understand and memorize. And when Allah asks any of the angels say, Subhanaka la ilma lana. We do not possess any knowledge, and Ya Allah, glory be to you. Here Allah shows us the virtue of human beings. That human beings is given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this intellect. That is not given to the angels. So we are blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with this intellect. And we are created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as ambassadors. So that is why in Islam, and we say that if a Muslim obeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he can be lifted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a level which is greater than the angels. This mentioned in Surah At-Tin, وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونِ وَطُورِ سِينِينَ لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ السَّافِلِينَ. We created any human beings in the best of form. Meaning Allah gives any human beings this ability that if human beings obey Allah and make efforts in the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the status will be raised by Allah, that he will be better than all of the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the point number one, that we are the Khalifa of Allah. So as a Khalifa, we ask what is the responsibility of the Khalifa? The responsibility of a Khalifa is to obey the commandments. Of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to study this religion, the deen, which Allah gave to prophets and messengers, and the last prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have to understand this religion holistically, and we have to study our situation that Allah placed us in, to understand what are our obligations and what are the things that we have to do, and what are the things that we do not have to do, based on the Sharia, based on the laws of Islam. So when we execute these laws, then we are being a Khalifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the first purpose, number one. Number two is mentioned in another verse. Allah said, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I do not created jinn and human beings and jinn, except to worship me. So this is the purpose number two. We are created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to worship him. We are created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and worship, and we have the aspect of the outward worship and the aspect of inward worship. And then number three is the concept of istimar. And this is mentioned in Surah Hud. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, huwa ansha'akum minal ardi wasta'marakum fiha. Yani Allah created you from the earth, and Allah commanded you to develop this earth. So one of the purpose of our lives is to develop this this earth basically. So that is why in Islam we have knowledge such as engineering, knowledge of medicine. These are fardu kifaya, because all these knowledges are for development. So Islam is not a religion that tells you that the most important thing is just ibadah only. Meaning some people have this understanding, for example, they want to just live in a cave, and then just make any ibadah to Allah, and this is the best of ways. No, that is not the case. Of course, any people can make that decision if they want, but the objective, which is holistic for a human being, is that he is a Khalifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And yes, ibadah is one of the aspects, but at the same time also we have to help in the development. How are we able to develop our societies? How are we able to make things good for people? That people can go into their daily lives, go into their daily lives where all their needs are met. So that is why we find the Muslims in the in our Muslim tradition. We find in the past, the Muslims they built great civilizations. So within the Islamic civilization, we find there are hospitals, there are markets, everything is there. So the Muslims built societies in which all of the needs of human beings are met. So we have universities, we have good education, we have good economy. Everything is done Because the Muslims they knew that this is one of the purpose why Allah Subhanahu wa Taala created them.
Yeah.
That is istimar.
Yeah.
So to summarize these 3 pointers, the purpose of our life is 3. Number 1, khilafah. Number 2 is ibadah. Number 3 is istimar. So as a Muslim, this thing we have to memorize like Surah Al-Fatiha. Because that's
our purpose of life.
Yeah, because if we do not know our purpose in life, and it's just like any person who goes to school and he doesn't know why he go to school.
Yeah.
He
get lost, is that like,
he will not do well.
Like zombie, just like every day you're just doing the same thing. And then the worst problem is that some people because they do not know the purpose, sometimes they pray also got no purpose. It's just
Follow,
ritual. It's just ritualistic,
I follow my mother, I follow my father.
It is my father Muslim means I also Muslim. There's that kind of thing. Like I think a lot of people face this thing also. And especially when they understand like this purpose of why they even exist, then the reason of why they perform the ibadah, why they do the actions has more meaning,
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and becomes
Definitely.
more embedded in themselves.
I think it's something that all of us should not neglect.
Yeah.
We all have to find our purpose.
Yeah.
But as a Muslim, the purpose of life has been laid out for us.
Yeah.
You don't need to like say, I'm just giving some examples. Borak, have you heard of the story of Troy before?
Yep, Troy.
Okay, so
you can share with me what you understand of it.
There's this warrior which is called Achilles.
Yeah.
Right. He said, this is something that I read. He said that his purpose of life is to be a great warrior. He's born to be a great warrior. So that is the philosophy of an individual, of him, right? I'm not referring him as a Muslim. It's referring him as a Greek person with that kind of ideology.
Just like Alexander the Great.
Yeah, I'm born to conquer. I'm born to this. So this is my purpose of life. But we Muslim, like Ustaz have already elaborate, right? Just now, we have to go back to these 3 purpose that has been mentioned. But some people are just too defiant, Ustaz. Defiant in a way where maybe it's pure ignorance, or maybe they are just really defying the words of Allah. Right?
How?
In a way where
example.
I know my purpose of life. My purpose of life is not being a Khalifa. My purpose of life, I'm not being a I don't want to, let's say example, a person say that he don't want to worship Allah. Why should I worship Allah? Right? So he's changing his purpose of life for his own good, for his own understanding.
Yeah.
There is such people, right, Barak?
Yeah. I think definitely the people, a lot of these guys, like, one thing was that I just realized, like, the hardcore atheists are the most people who are the most concerned about God. You know why? Because they're always talking about God.
No, I thought they constantly say that God doesn't exist. But why do they want to talk about God?
Because I don't know. Yeah, what's that? Why do you think is that? Like, these guys, they don't believe in God so much, but they talk about God all the time. It's like, it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Like they it's like almost like a zikir. It's like, I think.
But maybe they don't understand the purpose of life.
Yeah.
So like
I think they have this problem, Like they just cannot accept that they had no choice in or deciding why I exist. Like they are like enslaved in it. They're forced enslaved. That?
Yeah.
That's why they just like, I cannot accept it. I cannot accept that someone or some being decided why I'm here and to do what I have to do. Yeah.
I just have a question for Ustaz. Definitely when we talk about the purpose of life, going back to the beginning of our episode where Ustaz mentioned that we have to believe. We have to believe on our Creator, where He made us exist for a reason. And based on these 3, this is the revelation that is based on the Quran. This is our proof and the thing that we can relate to. So I have a question where just now when you mentioned on that Allah created us as a Khalifa, as an ambassador of God, as an ambassador of this religion of Islam. So in what way can we be an ambassador? Because people might have this misconception. Oh, ambassador of Islam, that means I have to wear sarban, have to wear songkok, have to look like a imam. I have to preach like a imam, I have to preach like a preacher, right? Have to talk like an ustaz. Ambassador, people have various views
stereotypes.
on this.
Stereotypes.
So Khalifa itself means in these aspects?
Yeah, basically, Khalifa is the one who execute the commandments. So we understood that they are commandments from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah sent in His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we have in the Quran as a guidance. So number one, we have to understand what is our obligation. So there is this obligation. These are the pillars of religion. It is obligatory upon us to perform the 5 times daily prayers. So this is the obligation that falls on all what you call human beings. To fast in the month of Ramadan, to perform the Hajj when we have the capacity. So this is we call it the sawabit. In our tradition, it's divided into 2 parts. When we speak about this khilafah, we have the sawabit and mutaghayyirat. Sawabit and mutaghayyirat. Sawabit are the obligations that are fixed, meaning everybody has to do.
You have to follow.
Everybody has to do. It doesn't make a difference whether you are a doctor or you are a technician or whether you are ustaz or imam.
Whether you are rich or poor.
Whether you are rich or poor.
Yeah.
So all of us we have this set of obligations that do not change. And then we have the second part, and it depends on our situation. So let me explain this. This is important. And this is in relation to what you mentioned. So imagine if a person is single. Single and he's not married. Do we tell him that it's compulsory for him to pay nafaqah to his wife?
To another person. Yeah.
So there is no obligation.
Yeah.
Correct or not? I mean, if a person is single, what is important he need to take care of himself. He has to find his nafaqah for himself. For his food, for his drinks, and for his shelter, and so on and so forth. And then you have another person who got married.
Yeah.
So the obligations will not be the same. A person who is single, he has no obligation of giving nafaqah to the wife because he's not married. But once a person is married, now there is an additional obligation. Can you see the change now?
Yes.
Okay, now it is not enough for this person who has just got married and he said that I just want to focus on myself. Like I just want to be nafsi, and my wife let her
handle herself.
Let her handle herself, and I just want to imagine that I'm still single. No, it doesn't.
There's a lot of people like that, Ustaz.
What happens?
Let's not open the can of worms.
What happens? And if he thought in that way and he performs in that way, he will be sinful. Why? Because this is a shortcoming of not performing his obligation towards the wife.
It means neglecting his duty.
Neglecting his obligation. Because now it's the law of Islam, and he came in and tell him that now since you are married, you have another set of obligation. That now nafaqah is not only for yourself, but you are obliged to give nafaqah to your wife. Right. The third situation, now he has children. And after he got married, and then let's say he has 3 kids or 4 kids, for example. Now nafaqah not only to the wife, but now he is obliged to give nafaqah, what you call it, to the children. So now there is an additional obligation. And then we speak about his occupation. For example, he works as a doctor. He works as a doctor. It is obligatory upon him. Now there is also an obligation. It is obligatory upon him to perform his duty well as a doctor, because this is a responsibility to Allah.
Yes.
Because now if he goes to his workplace and he's treating patients, so he must make sure that the advices that he gives must be correct. That he must perform his job correctly, because otherwise he will fall short on his obligation, and it can lead to problems with the patients, for example. So now we say that this is an obligation for him, and it is not possible for him to leave his occupation, because he understood that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who placed me in this situation. So this is what we meant by khilafah, meaning we have to access our situation. So you cannot copy and paste this. Just like the example I gave, you cannot make a person who is married and a person not married the same. They are not the same in terms of the situation. Likewise, the situation of the doctor is not the same as the situation of a technician. The situation of a teacher, for example, is not the same as the situation of a student. The student is obliged to study well. The teacher is obliged to perform his responsibility. So the worker has to have amana in work.
Yeah.
Because so that his salary becomes halal, and everything is done for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is what I meant by the sawabit and mutaghayirat. So sawabit, whether you are a doctor or you are a student or you are a teacher and all these things, you must pray the 5 times daily prayers and you must do this. But when it comes into these situations, this is where there is a difference. So as a Muslim, when we speak about khilafah, we are speaking about a holistic what you call it, the connection with Allah. Meaning in each and every moment of our life, we have a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning there is a ruling that Allah is telling us what you should do now. What you should do now. So this is what we meant. And when we say that one of the purpose of life is to become the Khalifa, the Khalifa of Allah. So meaning we are constantly building this relationship with our Creator. And executing what he commands based on the situation of each individual. So this is how if you want to look at this perspective in a very in a deeper sense.
In a very interesting way, Ustaz, when you mention in every aspect of our life is all connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we can relate back to our to the knowledge of our religion, where we have the knowledge of fiqh, we have knowledge of tasawwuf, in terms of how to improve ourselves as an individual. Then in terms of akhlaq and everything. So I think when we encompass everything, Ustaz, all this knowledge is our guideline. To be a ambassador of Islam. Am I right to say that, Ustaz?
So we have all these knowledges because we need to seek knowledge to understand this. So for example, we say prayers is obligatory. Prayers is obligatory. All of us we perform the 5 daily prayers. But we have to seek the knowledge on how to pray. It is not enough to believe that prayer is obligatory upon me, but we have to seek the knowledge on how to go about to perform this obligation. So if a person got married, for example, he needs to study munakahat, the fiqh of marriage. It is wajib now. But a single person, it is not compulsory for him to study the chapter of marriage.
Not yet, Ustaz.
Not yet. But if he wants to get married and he enters into marriage, now it becomes compulsory upon him to study this knowledge. So he has to understand the types of divorce, so that he doesn't say things that brings divorce which he himself do not know. And this is one of the big problems in our society today.
Yes, correct.
A lot of cases of divorce, and a lot of people, for example, they say some things they do not know that actually it is a divorce. For example. So these knowledges, because this is a responsibility, marriage is a responsibility, there are obligations, and likewise the knowledge by which to perform these obligations, and also has to be studied. Likewise, a businessman has to study fiqh mu'amalat. He has to understand what is the pillars of buying and selling. How do we differentiate and the buying and selling which is correct and which is not correct? How we differentiate what is riba and not riba. Of course, riba is one of the big calamities today. But if a person is engaging in transactions, even the common people, they have to understand what is the definition of all these transactions. And so on and so forth. So in every responsibility, in every situation, Islam address the rulings. This is where the knowledge of fiqh comes. The knowledge of fiqh, and it speaks about mu'amalat, and it speaks about ibadat, speaks about jinayat, and then we have the inner form of knowledge, and when it comes into tasawwuf and spirituality. Because Islam also speaks about the making ibadah in terms of the internal, the fact that Allah sees our heart, and knows our intention, how are we able to attain ikhlas, sincerity, and all these things.
To summarize that, I think for viewers out there, I think because we can be technical when it comes to this kind of thing, but to summarize in a very layman way, I think to be a Khalifah, to be the ambassador, that's your purpose of life, right? we are talking about this topic, to be an ambassador for Islam, to be the ambassador of Allah, right? I think we have to perform the obligations that Allah have set for us, and to prohibit oneself from doing all the harams, from doing all the prohibitions, right? To forbid oneself from doing all the prohibitions that Allah also have laid out in the Quran, and also in the hadith of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So I think that itself is being the ambassador, right? Not just by the outer look where people wear the uniform of Islam to look like they are an ambassador, but I think it involves every aspect of life.
Every aspect. I mean,
Every
even
aspect.
how you become a friend to another person,
Yes.
how you smile to another person, you know, how you think about, how you feel about every single part, has to be linked back, to.
Because why I ask Ustaz this question, because people might misconcept the meaning of Khalifa. They thought, oh, alamak, I must become the ambassador of Allah. I'm not good in speeches. I'm not good in preaching. Right? So they might misconcept. But what is been mentioned in the Quran, where Ustaz have elaborated in a very detailed manner, right? Where viewers and listeners out there can refer back to Al-Fadhil Mukarram Ustaz speech, where Ustaz mentioned is the way of life, right? We follow the every moment of our life, connecting ourselves to Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. I think that is the main purpose of us being the Khalifa, right, Ustaz? I mean, I'm just summarizing here lah.
Basically, what I understood from your point, some people might be thinking being a Khalifa meaning becoming a scholar of Islam,
or being a leader,
something like that.
being a leader in the community, you know.
Yeah, but in reality, what is important is that we obey Him, that we obey Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, and obedience to Allah, and it doesn't mean a person has to become a religious teacher, or everybody becomes an ustaz. But that is not the thing. But obedience to Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala is what we mentioned. We have the sawabit, the things that are established, the obligations that are established, and then we have our situations. So we have to look at our situations and where we are in order for us to understand how we are able to execute the obligations of Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala and to execute His commandments based on the situation that we are in.
Everyone is different in that sense. Yeah. Everyone is different.
MashaAllah. I mean, MashaAllah, thank you, Ustaz, for that explanation. I think it's very important, very, very important, because I think as a layman person like myself, right, I want to understand further, right, what's the meaning of Khalifa itself, being the ambassador, so I can portray myself as a better Muslim, not just towards people. I mean, inwardly you have to improve yourself a lot lah, because you are portraying yourself to Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, right? And you are connecting with Him, and you are communicating with Him on a daily basis, right? So you want to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
To Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala.
Some people also might ask, what is the virtue? So when we speak about the purpose of life, some people might ask, but why? We say that Allah gave us these responsibilities. Allah brought us into this existence and inform us about what He wants from us. What happens if you obey Him? This is also one of the things that we have to address. When we obey Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala in His commandments and we perform this obligation, that is the reality of success. That is the reality of success.
MashaAllah.
So Islam gave the answer about the meaning of success. So nowadays everybody wants to be successful. So the reality of success is when human beings are able to execute the commandments of His Creator. So now, I do not know whether last time I gave this example. For example, if I look at this handphone, the best person to know the function of their handphone is the inventor. Correct, no?
Yeah.
The person who invent. So now when we look at ourselves, human beings, the best one to know about us is our Creator.
Yes.
What is good for us, what is bad for us. we have to depend on the one who brought us into existence. So when we understood this and we knew the obligations and we knew our responsibilities, when we perform any of these responsibilities, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless us and with the ultimate and the success. So when you go back into the Quran, and Allah mentioned that this world, this dunya, is just a temporary place. That we are tested by Allah. At the end of the day, Allah is testing us.
Yes.
Whether you pray or you don't pray, whether you believe or you do not believe, whether you perform any obligations or you do not perform any obligations. So there are human beings and who obey, there are human beings and who does not obey. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created all of us and He is testing human beings. And this message goes not only to Muslims and to all human beings. The Quran is not only for Muslims. The Quran is for mankind. For mankind. So this is the path of salvation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling any human beings that if you follow this path and you believe and you obey your creator, who created you, then there will be this final abode anywhere. You will attain the ultimate and the success and forever and ever. As what Allah mentioned in the Quran, Innal ladina amanu wa amilu salihat lahum jannatu adnin tajri min tahtiha al-anhar. So we Muslims, and we must understand that the reality and our success is not this dunya. Because this world is temporary. Maybe tomorrow we pass away. Maybe we pass away in 10 years time or 20 years time or 30 years time. The reality is that one day we will live in this world, and we are seeing this. People are dying every day. In Singapore, I think it's daily maybe cases 20 deaths per day among the Muslim community. We are just waiting for our turn. So Islam give us this knowledge of what comes after death. This is also one of the things where people are asking, what comes after death? After they ask, for example, why am I here? Then the next question also they will ask, where will I go to? So the Quran in very great detail and it tells us that human beings will be resurrected by Allah. Then there will be a court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala where the deeds will be weighed, the deeds people will be questioned. There will be reckoning.
I think this is the best way for people to have their self-realization, where they awake themselves with this self-realization that
accountability.
Accountability.
So when you understand that you are accountable, you will be scared, and if you want to do something bad, because you know that you can escape the law of the land, but you cannot escape the court of Allah. But for people, for example, when they do not believe in God and they don't see any purpose in life,
they can do whatever they want.
They say that even if they do killing and all these things, die when you die and you are eaten up by the worms. That's what you call it. People can escape. They thought they can escape this all this reckoning and all these things.
But we have to, Ustaz brought in a very important part. We have to talk about this, the idea of a person who has no moral compass or has no purpose or no accountability. He can do anything, whatever he wants. Right? They can, they can even probably say, I want to be a pedophile. I want to be a pedophile.
I want to walk naked outside in the public.
I can do whatever I want. And then there's no moral compass to tell them, who determines what is right and wrong.
Even though Barat, they got no moral compass, right? But they are not responsible of the consequences. They don't care about the consequences. That's more dangerous for me rather than the part where they are not accounted for. Right. So they mean they can go out there, do anything they want, and at the same time they just lepas tangan or they just release their hand, say, oh, I'm not accountable. I'm not accountable for all this.
But that's the part where I think makes sense for us a lot. For example, when we look at especially as Muslim, for example, we look at all the calamities that is in this world, the amount of atrocities that we see across the world, things that is beyond our capacity to do anything. Individually we cannot do anything. We can't fix this kind of stuff. But the what makes sense or makes me have some sort of peace in the reality is that at the end of the day, no stone will be left unturned, man.
Man. Correct.
All this, everyone might get away with it. They might trick you and tell you, no, we did not do this, blah blah blah. But and I remember there's one ayah in the Quran in Surah Adiyah, I think Ustaz, when he says he will take away he will unveil from what you hid in your chest, right? Whatever you hide in your heart, and then he will say it's good, it's khair, But actually, all of this, you know, and that's why it's so important.
Is it just a facade, do you think? Is it
for
just
sure, man.
something, a facade where people carry themselves with, oh, I'm a celebrity, so I walk like this. I'm a superstar. I'm this, I'm that. So they walk this with this kind. Do you think that's the facade that they are walking with every day?
I have no idea, man. But I know definitely if they all know that there is some sort of, especially when we really believe there is an afterlife. Really believe that there is, at the end of the day, whatever we do and whatever we say, there is reckoning for it, accountability for what you do in this world.
Be very conscious.
And then also it gives some sort of peace for me, knowing that there is so much evil in this world, but I know that at the end of the day, these things will be not left untouched. You know, it gives me some sort of.
Talking about this, I think it's very, very fruitful from today's episode where we managed to narrow down, the purpose of life. Where
I mean, there's so many much talk about lah, but I think we got the crux of it.
I mean, going back to all this, going back to the three that Ustaz has mentioned, as to be ambassador of Allah, and to pray. I mean, to worship Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, and the last but not least is to
progress,
to be a person
to build,
who contribute to development.
Development.
Right. So I think that this is the three summary that we can actually bring back with us, and hold it close to us. Like Ustaz say, we must memorize this like our Surah Fatihah. Okay, Ustaz did mention Ustaz did mention in this episode, we must memorize these three aspects. Like Surah Fatihah. Okay,
memorize it.
Not just memorize. You have to, if can understand also. So in this episode, everything has been laid out. Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, Ustaz, for coming down and sharing your wise words, Ustaz.
Jazakumullah khairan for having me.
MashaAllah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So we're going to wrap it up. Right, we're going to wrap it up. I think we have a very lengthy episode in this episode. So we want to thank Al-Fadhil Mukarram Ustaz for coming down, and also thank our viewers and our listeners to stay tuned to our podcast, right? And stay tuned for our future episode. Inshallah, we have more
interesting topics,
hot topics, hot and revealing topics that we want to address. Inshallah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So inshallah, I'm your host Indra Sahib.
I'm Mubarak Shah. Thank you so much.
See you on
guys.
the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah.
Waalaikumsalam.